it's Sapphire, and today I'll be reviewing some alcohol markers. These are the Touchnew alcohol markers that I bought off of Amazon. They're insanely cheap. But this video is not sponsored, and this review would be my own opinions on this product. Now, I got the 80 set and a 24 set of skin tone markers to use today. And basically, I just want, this is my biggest set of alcohol markers I've ever had. I started out with pro markers when I was younger, but I only have like a 12 or 14 set of those. And it was really stifling having a very small color palette. So having an 80 set of markers plus another 24 markers that are just skin tones is kind of liberating to me, even though I haven't really used these markers. Now, I did go through them when I got them, which was actually a while ago. I've been saving these to use in this video. And I went ahead and I already swatched all of these markers. I did it on copy paper, so I don't know how good the quality of the swatches are, but they're swatches and they have all the colors on them, so it's good enough for me, to be honest. Now, as you see, this is a big range of colors. It could be bigger because there was I think it was 150 set of these markers. But swatching them, I realized the number, there is an order with the numbers and how the colors work, but it is kind of also all over the place because you'll have a dark turquoise color like this, and then the next color is the bright blue, or you'll go from this grayish purple to a bright pink. But otherwise, the system of the system of the colors in these markers is actually organized. The colors themselves are when you pick up the marker, it's fairly easy to tell which one you have, and they also have the number and the name of the color on the ends of the markers, and on the marker barrel itself you have a gray stripe telling you which is the fine point, and the other side is the chisel nib. Now, the thing about these being cheap markers is to get replacements, you probably have to buy a whole set, and there is no brush nib, which I hear is highly coveted by people who use alcohol markers. Now, the set has full 80 markers, but it also comes with, oh, where did it go? There's a pen in here somewhere and I just lost it. Oh, there it is. It comes with 2 liners. One is just an unnamed kind of Touchnew marker that's green with a purple cap, and it is a ballpoint kind of nib. It's extremely fine. I used it to write down all the letters on this swatch sheet. And then it comes with a felt tip fine liner, which has a broader felt tip and an extremely fine felt tip. Now, when I saw this, I kind of got a little excited because it's really reminiscent of the Sharpie pens that I use to line a lot of my artwork with that have a similar size nib. Oh, and here's the swatch set for the skin tone markers. Some of these are sort of repeated from the 80 set, and this set also came with the Colors Blender, which I was using here, but it actually removes the pigment rather than blend it. Anyway, it's a long range of skin tones. You have blush colors, but I basically bought the skin tone set because I draw a lot of, it's weird because I draw a lot of birds, specifically Dracostrix, and they all have colors around this range for their feathers, and it actually is a nice range of colors for trying to get the desired colors of the feathers on the Dracostrix. So what I wanted to do today is just make a couple of illustrations using these markers before I decide if I actually like them or not. From the swatches, they looked pretty promising, but I can't really be sure until I actually use them for an illustration. So what I wanted to do first was compare the Touchnew markers with the Pro markers and the Prismacolor markers.
So I didn't realize my camera exposure was up so high since this was my first time recording with this camera, and so I didn't know it wasn't picking up the lighter colors and that the paper was practically glowing. I did fix this, but not until much later on in the video. I apologize for that since I can't really show you the comparison I was making here, and you'll pretty much just have to go based off of what I said.
So I have red and yellow, and I need to find, crap. I need to find good colors to compare these with. So I'm gonna get this yellow out to compare to these yellows. And where is my marker number 4? This to compare to these markers. So what I'm basically just going to make a swatch of each. So as you can see, the colors don't really match, and I wouldn't really expect them to, because the color sets that I have in the Pro markers and I'm borrowing from a friend's Prismacolors are kind of limited. And as you can see, the Pro marker and the Prismacolor are a lot darker than the Touchnew, but again, the Touchnew's color was vivid red, whereas the Pro marker was ruby and the Prismacolor was crimson red. So I don't expect them to match. I'm more looking like how evenly they go down. And surprisingly, the Touchnew markers go down really even, because I'm not sure if you can see this on camera, but the Touchnew is like very smooth coverage, where the Prismacolor is kind of grainy. The Pro marker is also kind of grainy, but not as much. But this is with the red. With the Touchnew, it's like the yellow went down grainy, but in the Pro marker it went down very smooth. So I think it just depends on the color. This paper also isn't really marker paper, so that could also affect the quality of the way that the colors go down. I'm not actually sure what kind of paper this is, because I don't have marker paper, and I asked my art teacher if she had any, and she just kind of pulled out this paper, which is like really smooth and matte on one side, but it's also like glossy and smooth on the other. And as you can see, they kind of bled through, but they didn't bleed through on the desk, so hopefully this paper will work for what I'm trying to do today. So without further ado, I'm going to see if I can draw something with these markers. Oh wait, that paper is not good. Let me find better piece. Okay, I'm gonna try with this piece. I'm gonna see if I can try to draw something with these markers today and see what I can do.
So I cut most of this footage of this illustration because this drawing ended up eventually turning into a giant dumpster fire, at least to me. Anyways, I'm going to chalk this up as a goof on my part and not the markers, because I should have known better than to try to draw a dark character, which you'll hear me explain later on. Also, in hindsight, I was doing some dumb things with these markers as far as color theory goes. As I say later, I did keep some of this footage just because of my reactions to the markers, so enjoy the following few moments of me struggling with these markers.
Well, this reps. I can't get the freaking cap to stay on top of the other cap. Ew, for it. Actually, I'm curious. Nope, the line work did not bleed through, so at least the liner is bleed proof, I guess. So the only issue, and I only found it with this marker, is the nib seems to kind of be just slightly dried out. Well, that looks terrible. Let's see if I can try to fix this. Probably won't be able to, but I can try. Oh, that made it look a little more like the color I wanted, but I'm just gonna have to be careful when I shade it, I guess. I will say now this character isn't as dark as I'd like her to be. She's technically supposed to be a black cat, but as you can see, I'm struggling, and I always struggle with dark characters for whatever reason with these markers, with like alcohol markers in general. So I'll just have to see, I guess. If I really don't like how this is going. But the thing I'm going to do at this point is just finish coloring this character in, and then we'll start over with new drawing, because this, I messed up. I made mistakes, and she ain't looking too good. So I'll finish coloring in her as a character, but I'm not going to do the background, and I think I'll just do a different drawing for the thumbnail that's better than this, because I don't know what I'm doing, and I've always struggled with dark characters, and I think it was a mistake to do a dark character when I haven't really used these markers all that much. So yeah, I'll just finish coloring her in and I'll just be done with it. Don't want to give up on a drawing, but it's looking bad, bruh. I think the only reason I'm going to keep this footage in this video at this point is because I had a lot of reactions to the markers as I was using them. And I feel like those those reactions would be very helpful to like people who might be contemplating using these markers. Because every little bit of information in a review helps, because the unbridled reactions are really what says the truth about the markers and stuff. And not having that in the video, to me, I feel like it would just kind of be a crime. So, I don't know why I colored it in with that one marker when I'm gonna have to cover it up completely with this blue marker. Oh my gosh. What is going on with this chisel tip? Oh, for getting bleedage. Too much wet ink on one spot. It's almost like the chisel tip and the bullet tip on this are two different colors. But I think it's just because one's got a higher concentration of ink than the other, and it could be that the chisel tip is drying out. And we got bleeding. I've had a couple of issues with the dried out markers with this set, but not too many, so there's that at least. We'll just call this the I didn't know what I was doing, but I practiced with these markers anyway drawing. This jelly roll does not dry opaque, by the way. Like, it goes on really bright, but when it dries, it's not very opaque, so that's something to look out for when you use these markers. I'm just going to give up on this illustration because at this point I feel like it's a lost cause. So I'm going to attempt a new illustration. I feel like if I did an illustration with a character with lighter colors, this would be easier for me to do. So I'll be back with that, apparently.
So after that goof, I went on to make this second illustration of another one of my characters. I originally planned to do both illustrations, but I guess I had even more of a reason to after that struggle. Now, with this character, I've drawn in several times before with alcohol markers, but it was always with a very limited color set. For example, I'd always color him a straight blue and orange, and then cell shade him with red and purple, because that was all the more I had at the time. With these markers, I had so much more versatility, and I could make my boy here look so much softer looking with my shading. Shading with these markers was another great thing since they blended pretty well, at least for my standards. They're probably by no means perfect because I couldn't get a solid gradient with them, and while shading this guy, I can totally understand why a lot of people like brush nibs on their markers. With everything being said though, I really liked how this piece turned out. There are a few things I'd change if I could, like adding more contrast to his wing or making the sky paler because there's almost an overwhelming amount of blue in this piece. As the video plays out, I just want to go over some of the pros and cons of these markers for anyone possibly looking to buy them in the future. The biggest pro I found for these markers is that they're a large color range for a small price, which is $35.99 for 80 markers, which averages around 49 cents per marker. Now this doesn't include add-ons like the skin tone set, which is a little more expensive per marker. This is because the skin tone set is 24 markers for $16.99. However, the big idea here is that the Touchnew sets provide a large range of colors for an affordable price. Another pro is that the colors are vibrant. A lot of the lighter colors are very bright, while the darker colors seem very rich. This set is also balanced out with a healthy amount of various grays, with a set of both warm and cool grays, as well as green and blue grays. The colors apply smoothly, and they seem to be similar in quality to Pro Marker and Prismacolor inks, however this may depend on the paper that they are applied to. They are decently blendable, but you may not be able to get a perfect blend, but they will do for good shading. They come with their own smear-proof liners as well. I honestly wasn't expecting this when I opened the package, and they are actually decent quality pens. Cons I found are more nitpicky since they may or may not be specific to the set I got, but I figured they'd be worth mentioning anyways. So I'm going to get the actual one out of the way, and that's that there is no brush tip. Personally, for me, it's not too big a deal, but I know that they can be a big deal for other people since they're so nice to work with. But my other cons are drying out markers. This was a problem since I had a few markers, namely the Vivid Red and one of the blue ones, that were dying on me and were very scratchy on the paper. The colorless blender, while I'm not sure this is entirely a con, it only came with the skin tone set and not the 80 set, which I found kind of odd. But it also doesn't blend the markers, it just removes the ink or lightens it, which I know can be useful in some cases, but it makes the name of the marker very misleading, and newcomers to this marker set may accidentally use it thinking it is a blender and might ruin the ink that they already put down below it. Another issue I came across was loose and broken caps, which was probably just an oopsie in my set, but the Vivid Red cap on the bullet end was loose, and that was probably part of the reason why it was drying out, and the cap on the felt tip liner I had was actually cracked. This is probably the biggest nitpick that I have, but the white gel pen that came with the 80 set isn't that opaque. It works for low-key highlights like in hair and fur, but if you need actual white, like the catch lights in the eyes, it won't work unless you layer it a few times. And finally, there's no way to get replacements or refills, though through the company. I did do some looking around for replacements, and there are some people online who buy sets of these markers to resell individual markers, but they sell it for way more than the 49-cent per marker worth. There are also the Touch Twin markers that seem to have the same exact colors in their roster and have refill ink, but I don't think the Touchnew markers were designed to be refilled, and it's bad advice to tell someone to refill their markers with different inks anyways. With everything being said though, I do feel confident in recommending these markers to people who are looking into maybe beginning in marker illustration, or for those of you who are looking for more affordable markers if you can't afford the more expensive brands. Personally, I really enjoy these markers and will probably be using them for many illustrations in the future. Well, here's my finished piece. It'll be going up on my Instagram once this video goes live. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please leave a like. If you have a question or you think I forgot something, feel free to leave it in the comments below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!